Yeah, the main agenda is don't shut it down. That's the whole goal. We shouldn't ask for more than that. I mean, they just left. They'll be gone until September 2nd. And the second that they get back, the first thing that they have teed up is a vote on an appropriations package to keep another part of the government open. So we have 12 appropriations bills. The House has done 2. The Senate has done 3. I have 25% odds that we're going to shut down on October 1st. Really? And you can see why. Democrats can't get a word in edgewise. They held up the nominations process even into the weekend, which is asking a lot in late July for them to stay in session. And they're all trying to have some sort of opportunity to make a splash or get any kind of attention. And this is the first real opportunity since Senator Schumer whiffed on the first one to have something that they can really push back against the president. I think the most important thing for investors to watch is the decision from the Federal Circuit Court about whether he can keep these tariffs on or not. That is the most important thing for the entire second half of this year as we wait for that decision.
I'm going to interrupt. Paul, it's Paul's turn to ask a brilliant question. That's so important. I'm going to be rude. Henrietta, walk us through that process. It goes against the president. By definition, it goes to the Supreme Court, right?
Not necessarily. So there's a lot of speculation here that because the Court of International Trade found unanimously in their 3-body panel that the president does not have this authority, now when the 12-body panel of the Federal Circuit Court hears it, if they find a similar conclusion, the Supreme Court might not be inclined to take up the case, even if the president appeals. So we have this really high, tense battle that's brewing.
Okay, but then brief us here on November. Then what happens?
So let's say we're probably in the September time horizon when the FCC gives us a result, maybe even in the next 2 or 3 weeks is possible. They've been moving really quickly. The president will appeal, and all the tariffs will be sort of in suspended animation unless they say, okay, you can keep them on while the Supreme Court continues to discuss. Then the Supreme Court takes it up the first week of October, and we maybe get an answer from them at the late October period. So for investors, I guess the way to think about this is you have certainty that these IEEPA tariffs will be on through the end mid-October at least, but that could be pulled forward and it might be stripped entirely. And then at that point, we could do an entire segment about the 4 main options that the White House is looking at right now. But this is when we go to work. You know, do we need a reconciliations bill? Do we need a sanctions package? Are they going to just act as if? Are they going to try to get Congress to codify the IEEPA tariffs for them, which they do not have the votes for? So it's going to be a wild ride if that comes to pass.
Wow, I wasn't aware this whole court thing was taking place.
Paul,
I kind of lost in the memory banks.
I mean, you got the kegger out in the deck of Budweiser, right?
Yep, of course.
It's nuts, folks. I didn't have any idea either. Exactly. Paul admits it at least.
So, Henrietta, I'm going to ask this because I ask every time we chat with you. I don't do it every time. I try to save it for once every week or two. But where are the Democrats? Where's the Democratic voice today?
There's not a unified Democratic voice today. They are spread all around. They're trying to unify around whatever they can grab. So I mentioned that they were suspending the nominations over the weekend and not really coming to an agreement. That's all over the Epstein files. And you could say it doesn't matter to Wall Street, and that's true, but it resonates on Main Street, and it's in conversations across the country. And you can see that in the polling. So they're trying to seize on something there. They are trying to talk about the tariffs. You'll see that members are coming out and now are increasingly sort of united around opposition to tariffs, but they have a little bit of a squishy headline. No surprise there. They'll say things like, in some cases, tariffs are helpful, but in this case, they're a tragedy. You know, so it's not really a neat talking point. And they really need to, I think what we're seeing in these town halls is that the people, the actual American public, are focusing on the one big beautiful bill, cuts to Medicaid, cuts to SNAP, and you can see that in even Nebraska right now.